Cool. Hey, Mike here with Hartfield and Co. Super pumped to be joined with Matt. We're gonna get to meet him in just a second, but we are here to talk about the 250th Marine Corps birthday. Um, Super exciting, a really cool time for our Corps and just the camaraderie and the brotherhood that we have together. Matt, I just want you to go ahead and say, first of all, thanks so much for coming, but tell us about yourself, your rank, and what you did in the Marine Corps and all of that.
Yeah, so I joined the Marine Corps in 2005. The reason why I wanted to join the military at all was after 9/11, 2001 terrorist attacks. I just felt like it was my calling and my purpose to serve the military. And I went around to each branch, and then I found the love as a Marine. And I always tell people that's like, why? What made you choose the Marine Corps? After one of the pulley functions, we went to Hooters afterwards. So I'm like, well, there. I think I love this branch, But yeah, I went up to Paris Island, saw the yellow footprints in 2005, and exactly a year later, I was on a plane headed to Iraq. And what I joined the military and especially the Marine Corps to do was to deploy. I didn't want to miss the war. I wanted to go fight, and I wanted to, go get the bad guys that was responsible for 9/11. And started with Second Battalion, Third Marines, Echo Company. We were deployed to Haditha, Iraq in 2006, and kind of got to taste the combat, right then. And it was, but it was something that, looking back, like, I don't regret anything I've ever done. Like, I've loved every bit of it, the emotions, the ups and downs, the good times, the bad times, and all of it kind of at the end of the day made me who I am and where I am today. So it's been truly a blessing.
Yeah, of course, I think one of the things I'm pumped about is I always like talking with combat Marines. I'm a pogue. That's a personnel other than grunt is what we
Yeah,
say in the Marine Corps. So I did not. I was not an O3, but I just love hanging out with Marines in general. It's one of the biggest things that I miss since being in the Marine Corps. But as I was planning on this day and thinking about everything, I was thinking about how like there are some similarities between bourbon and Marines, right? It takes time and pressure and heat and all of those things to form a good bourbon. Similar things for a solid Marine, but obviously, you were injured. Do you want to tell us about that? Are you cool to tell us about when you got injured?
absolutely. Yeah, like as I mentioned, when we deployed, it was just like we hit the ground running. We were kind of warned a little bit about just like the briefs, from what the CO said. It was we were stepping in a hornet's nest, and it showed in the first 40 days we had a casualty a day. I think out of our company, we had about 55 wounded, 9 killed. We were the most in the battalion. Out of them, we lost 23 in the entire battalion, and over 170 was wounded. So it was, it definitely, like, it tested us, but it was just that we kept going at the enemy over and over again, and then finally, we fought through where, now the community, the Iraqis were safe of coming out, safe with interacting with us. And the first 3 months of that deployment was hell, but then after that 3 months, it got kind of, I hate to say it, it was good, but it got boring. For an infantry guy that dealt with firefight after firefight, it was but it showed that we were doing our job, and the unit that relieved us didn't take any casualties. So, yeah, we lost a lot of blood. We lost a lot of guys over there, but it tested us all. I always tell people, like, when we left that deployment, like, there might have been 50 plus guys that got a Purple Heart, but everybody in that company was wounded. And it grew us closer together. And as a point man, I felt safer walking the streets than I did in a vehicle, just because our convoy unit got hit so hard. And within those first 3 months, it was combat infected, so we had to change out a platoon just to get in a vehicle. But it was just, going on patrol every day, foot, kind of leading from the front. Like, you start seeing the ground, you start seeing the terrain, the buildings. Your eyes are always wandering. And on that day, walking down the street, I saw a white bag leaned up against a tree about 30 yards off to my right in front of me, and that's a suspicious item. Like, why is that bag leaned up against there? And I look around and tell my guy to the left and the Marines behind me to be on alert. As I turned back around, I looked down in this ditch that laid perpendicular from the road we were on, went inside of a pipe underneath the road, and saw the command wires. And by that time, I was directly on top of it. That there's no getting off of it. I always love the questions like, "What did you do?" When you saw the command wires, like, honestly, like, there was no time to even react, because there was somebody in a building, watching. Yeah, in a building nearby, that just pushed the button and it blew me up. And thankfully, where how our squad was so dispersed, I got wounded and the guy to my left got wounded, but everybody else behind me, we were dispersed so well that nobody else got wounded. And hey, you know what? I'd rather give my life than any of those guys give their life. So, I found out in and out of conscious. I lost my left leg. My right leg was severely damaged. I had shrapnel go through both my eyes, and I woke up 3 weeks later in Bethesda, Maryland, and from a heavily sedated coma to find out what truly happened to me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. Like about a month earlier, like I was put into my team leader role. My squad leader trusted me and says, "Hey, Bradford, it's on you. Take us to the right house. Take us down the right road. We trust you. You've done this long enough." And that kind of gave me finally the hope and the to my mind, like I could do this. I could be a leader. Like, and just a month later, all that just changed. Here I am looking to go back to Hawaii, be a team leader, take some Marines over to Iraq, take them home, bring them home safely, and keep going with my Marine Corps career. And then all of a sudden, now here I am laying in a hospital bed, and like this whole life has changed for me. At the age of 20, find out that I lost both my legs, pretty much lost a body's worth of blood. Shrapnel go through both my eyes, right hand damage, left forearm damage, abdomen damage, small intestines, half of it was removed. So like literally having to start over. But as you mentioned about the Marine Corps, as I'm facing the dark days and wanting to give up because I wanted to deploy and come home with my brothers or not come home at all. Like I didn't want the middle of the road wounded guy. It was the Marine Corps that kept me alive. As those guys were being motivated, wanting to fight for me. Here I am wanting to fight for them. And if it wasn't for the Marine Corps, then I don't know. It was just at the end of the day, I always think back. The Marines don't quit; they don't give up. And at that time, I was faced with either living life or giving up and quitting. And I didn't want to be a statistic, so I kept fighting on. And having a lot of guys, Marines, wounded service members come in my hospital room over and over again, helped me realize that no matter what happened to me, no matter what they took from me, like I could still live this life and I could still wear the uniform. That's what motivated me to fight on every day and to learn how to walk, to learn how to be blind, the visual part of it all, just because I wanted to re-enlist. I wanted to continue wearing that uniform. And, 3 years of therapy, training, strengthening, my mind, my body, all this stuff. I put in my medical board. I re-enlisted. I was the first blind WMT in the history of the Marine Corps to do that. April 7th, 2010. And they asked me where I wanted to go, and it was the Wounded Warrior Battalion. I want to be around other wounded warriors because I want to let them know that no matter what happens to you, no matter what, if you're burned, you're blind, if you're amputee, whatever it is, like life isn't over, and you could still fulfill, whatever God puts in front of you and that purpose in life.
That's right. Yeah, and I think it was General Amos, right, that started the Wounded Warrior Regiment, I believe. Uh,
He was so he was really big with when I was going through because General Conway was the commandant,
yeah,
General
that's
Amos
right.
was the assistant commandant, and I always loved General Amos because every time I saw him, because he did a lot of stuff with some of the nonprofits I worked with, and my left eye is a prosthetic eye, but so in 2007, the lady in Bethesda was like, whatever design you want on your prosthetic eye, if it looks good and we minimize it, we'll put it on the eye for you. By that time, I'm like sold. Like, so I had a University of Kentucky eye. I had a Marine Corps eye. I had a Bin Laden with a crosshair on his forehead eye. Like, I had everything you could think of. Like, I don't want to sound sexist, but I was like a female in her shoes. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to wear a Marine Corps shirt to therapy today, I'm going to have a Marine Corps eye in.
That's
And
right.
so every time I saw him, I had a different eye in. And, one day he walked up and grabbed my face. It's like, what eye do you have in today, Marine? And like, here I am, like, please don't let this eye pop out because it is like if you hit it at a certain angle, it might pop out. You never know. So, but it's just that whole part,
Yeah.
just learning to live life, to laugh a little bit, to joke about things because I always look back on my life and there's like one story when I was in therapy and trying to learn how to walk and frustrated, not tripping over my own feet, not wanting to fall. And for me, as a Marine infantry guy, like I didn't think walking on prosthetics would be very tough, but when you can't see, it's even tougher. And bouncing off the left wall, the right wall, and my physical therapist stopped me one day and says, "Matt, whatever you do, just put one foot in front of the next and just walk. Like I'll never let you fall." And that gave me the strength, the courage to just do that. And I realized then that every step that I take is a step in the unknown. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but as long as it's going in the right direction, that's the direction I want to go. And it could go off a curb, it can go into a wall, or it can go out the door where opportunity is. But I almost lost my life on one wrong step. So I'm taking advantage of every opportunity I get with that one step. And I feel like with every day that we have, like we're not guaranteed tomorrow or next week. It's like, what can we learn in this moment right now, to help us grow, to get better for tomorrow or that next opportunity. And it's just taking everything that I learned through rehab, through those good days, those bad days, and just that wisdom, that knowledge, and just learning from it to strengthen who I am as a person.
Yeah, I was telling Jeremy as we were talking about this stuff, I was like, it's just really funny in the Marine Corps. You have a lot of guys that you end up having kind of a little bit of a dark sense of humor that people don't understand. So I told him I was going to ask you, like, do they still ask to see your veteran ID when you're trying to get a veterans discount, or do they just take your word for
I think
it?
it's funny. Like if you go to places and they're like they try to ID you, it's like
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain I'm over 21 years old.
yeah,
I go to the airport and I pretty much get cavity searched by TSA. I'm like, getting blown up the first time wasn't fun. I don't think I
yeah.
want to be doing it to myself now.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
it's just the funniest part is like having those dark sense of humor, those conversations with another veteran when I was at University of Kentucky when I was at school,
hmm,
and you got an 18, 19-year-old that they don't know how to react. Like
yeah,
you say something, but I can just automatically sense the awkwardness on their face.
yeah.
It's just, yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's
It
fun to
is.
mess with those people. Like the amputations, I don't hide because I wear shorts all the time. But the blindness, I could mess with people, and I do that because I look people in their face and I talk to them. I follow their voices. Like sadly, or not really sadly, but I get around pretty well on my own. So it's like, are you really blind?
Kind of
Like
mess with people.
we were on a road and the guy driving, it was about midnight and we were going from Virginia to North Carolina. And I was just out of the blue joking around. I'm like, oh, welcome to North Carolina. And he looked at me and was like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, what? He's like, we literally just crossed the state line. So it's like, it's even hard to play the blind card when it's like just joking around. But
Yeah, very cool.
it's, I've enjoyed it. It's just, I have the good days, I have the bad days. Like I wish I could see sometimes, but you know what? I've gone through enough with life, with training, with therapy that it's like, I'm okay. Like I know I'll see one day, but I want to live every day right now as I can see. So
That's great, man. Well, I mean, one of the things that we're trying to do, we're releasing this 250th birthday Marine Corps bourbon. I'd like to hear just like, what's your favorite pour bourbon? You just tried some awesome 13 years, so not to push you in any one direction, but no, like, what's your favorite pour bourbon? And then also, do you have a favorite toast? A lot of Marines do pretty funny toast. I would love to hear if you have a favorite.
I, you know, it's funny because I've recently, about within the last 10 years, started drinking bourbon straight.
Hmm.
I was that crazy person that would mix it. Here in Kentucky, I'd mix it with L8, and my at that time one of my friends brought up E.H. Taylor
Hmm.
small batch too. He's like, don't do not ever mix this, and that kind of it grew the palate, and now here I am trying everything. And the one thing I love about bourbon, like you mentioned earlier, I love the history of it all.
Hmm.
Like I'm a history guy, so going around tours and just hearing how bourbon is created, reading the books, and it's just I enjoy that, and it's just I love just sitting down. And to me, like for like I don't it's not drinking to get drunk. It's drinking to socialize. It's drinking to sit down next to someone and just talk. A lot of times when I drink, it's those social moments of just sitting down, relaxing, reflecting, thinking about life, thinking about like where I was then to where I am now to what I want to be tomorrow. That's what I get of it, and it's just I enjoy it. And nothing I love more than just the Marine Corps, the bourbon, togetherness, the fellowship. I
Hmm.
think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we're gonna get into some bourbon, and you're gonna help us pick the bourbon that we're gonna release for the 250th birthday. But if you have any message for our other Marine brothers out there, you can look over towards your left there and
I
tell them
do
you
want to
want some.
say like I'm thankful. You being a Marine, me being a Marine, like what you all are doing right now to not only with the 250th birthday, but just to put this out there.
Yeah.
Because like you served, I served. Less than 1% of us served this nation. And here we are, the strongest military in the world. We got the best military in the world. It's just it doesn't take much of us, but it takes a lot of dedicated, you know, uh, strong people who want to stand up and defend freedom, defend what they love, and that's what I did it. That's why the flag right there, the Marine Corps, and what it
Hmm.
stands for. And for 250 years, you look back on the history and what it's done. From way back in the day to where it is now, and the battles it's fought in. And it's truly amazing. I can't thank you enough for doing this. And Semper Fidelis means always faithful.
Semper Fi, brother.
So it's
Yeah.
just thank you all again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I was thinking it was so interesting how the Marine Corps started in a bar, right?
Yeah.
Ton Tavern, and here we are. We're going to spend some time drinking. So, happy birthday, Marines, and we hope you enjoy, celebrate, and be together.
Yeah.